Ancient places, heritage to find. Ancient places, know your heritage. Ancient places, start with definition.
Hello and welcome to the Ancient Places Heritage Podcast. I'm Sian Hall, an anthropologist, heritage practitioner, and researcher. And in this series, we're going to unravel one of the most misunderstood aspects of development in South Africa, heritage approvals. So whether you're a developer, environmental assessment practitioner, architect, engineer, planner, municipal official, landowner, or even a fellow heritage practitioner, at one time or another, you've probably asked yourself one simple question. I've bought land, or I've been asked to assess a piece of land. What now? Do you start designing? Do you apply for planning approval? Do you appoint an environmental consultant? Or do you need to think about heritage first? The answer is, it depends. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. By the end of this episode, you'll understand when heritage legislation applies, what Section 38 of the National Heritage Resources Act actually means, who South Africa's heritage authorities are, which authority deals with your province, and how the heritage approval process works from beginning to end. So let's get started. One of the biggest misconceptions I come across is that heritage legislation exists to stop development. It doesn't. The purpose of heritage legislation is to make sure that development takes place responsibly while still protecting South Africa's irreplaceable heritage resources. Once they're destroyed, they're gone forever. We simply can't replace them. These heritage resources include archaeological sites, fossils, historic buildings, graves and burial grounds, cultural landscapes, places of cultural significance, battlefields, shipwrecks, and many other resources that help tell the story of our country. Most developments proceed without major heritage problems. The purpose of the heritage process is simply to identify any heritage resources that may be affected and decide how they should be managed before construction begins. This brings us to one of the most important parts of the National Heritage Resources Act, Section 38. If you've worked in development, you've almost certainly heard someone say, "This project triggers Section 38. But what does that actually mean? Section 38 identifies categories of development that must be referred to the relevant heritage authority for consideration. The authority then decides whether further heritage investigations are necessary. Examples of developments that may trigger Section 38 include housing developments, shopping centres, roads, pipelines, transmission lines, wind farms, solar energy facilities, mining projects, dams, tourism developments, and many other large-scale developments. Not every project requires a full heritage impact assessment. Sometimes the authority determines that no further heritage work is required. Sometimes it requests specialist studies, so every project is different. Many people assume there is only one heritage authority in South Africa. There isn't. But at national level, we have the South African Heritage Resources Agency, or SAHRA. SAHRA is responsible for certain categories of heritage resources and in some provinces still performs functions that have not yet been fully devolved to provincial authorities. Several provinces also have their own provincial heritage resources authorities. These include Heritage Western Cape, Amafa or KwaZulu-Natal in KwaZulu-Natal, the Eastern Cape Provincial Heritage Resources Authority, and other provincial authorities with varying levels of competence. Depending on where your development is located, your application may go to SAHRA or to the relevant provincial authority. Understanding which authority has jurisdiction is one of the first and most important steps in the process. Let's imagine you've just purchased a large property and you're planning a new development. The heritage process usually follows a sequence like this. First, the proposed development is identified. Next, it's determined whether the project triggers the National Heritage Resources Act. If it does, an application is submitted to the relevant heritage authority. The authority reviews the proposal. At this point, one of several things may happen. The authority may decide that no further heritage work is required, or it may require a heritage impact assessment. It may also request specialist studies, such as archaeological, paleontological, built heritage, cultural landscape, or graves assessments. If specialist reports are required, suitably qualified practitioners prepare those reports and submit them to the Heritage Authority for review. The authority considers the findings and makes a decision. Sometimes the development is approved. Sometimes it's approved with conditions. Sometimes it's denied. And occasionally, further information is requested before a final decision can be made. If permits are required, for example, to excavate archaeological material, alter a protected historic building, or relocate graves, those permits must also be obtained before work begins. Only once all the necessary approvals and permits have been obtained should the construction commence. Before we finish, I'd like to clear up 3 misunderstandings that I encounter regularly. The first is that every development requires a heritage impact assessment. It doesn't. Many developments are screened and do not require a full HIA. The second misunderstanding is that the Heritage Authority prepares the Heritage Report. No, the authority regulates the process. The reports are prepared by independent heritage practitioners and specialist consultants. The third misunderstanding is that approval of a heritage impact assessment is the same as obtaining a permit, or that if the specialist is paid to write a report, that the specialist is obligated to recommend development in the developer's favor. It isn't. There are a number of occasions when this occurred with me, and upon realizing that I mitigated against development, payment was withheld by the client for my work and completed report. An approved HIA and statutory permits are different parts of the heritage process, and depending on the project, both may be required. I hope this episode has helped demystify the heritage approval process and given a clearer understanding of what happens after you buy land and begin planning a development. In the next episode, we'll answer another question I hear almost every week. How much do the heritage authorities actually charge? We'll compare the fees charged by SAHRA, Heritage Western Cape, are Martha and the Eastern Cape Provincial Heritage Resources Authority. Explain what each fee covers and look at when these fees become payable during the heritage approval process. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Ancient Places Heritage Podcast. If you find the episode useful, please subscribe and hit the like button and leave a comment if you feel that you have something to contribute. And I'll see you next time.
Heritage Podcast. Heritage Podcast. Discovering Africa, one story at a time. Archaeology, history, living heritage. Heritage Podcast. Heritage Heritage Podcast, discovering Africa, one story at a time. Archaeology, history, living heritage. Ancient places. Heritage Discovering Africa.